Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Now then, everybody, the international break is over. Leeds are playing Fulham tomorrow, but before we get into that, it's everyone's favourite Friday night show. It's Late Night Leeds. Now then, everybody, hope everyone's doing well. Let's check the temperature in the room. Adam, how are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Very good. Excited to be back. Excited to be. We haven't done this in ages, have we? It's been 2 weeks, so yeah, all good.
Weeks. And let's address the beautiful elephant in the room to my right as you look at the screen. My good friend Dan, aka BOSSNASS. So a bit of a change at Late Night Leeds. Mr. Wilco White, Sean, has decided to give YouTube a little bit of time off of the scene, including Late Night Leeds. Unfortunately for us, we had to move on, and with Sean's recommendation, we decided to give BOSSNASS the opportunity to come and speak to us on a Friday night, and he grabbed it with both hands. So whether it's forever or not, I don't know. We will see how it goes, and there's nothing untoward. He wants a bit of free time, doesn't he? So he works long hours, works nights, does Mr.
He's gone. Stop him. He's gone.
He'll be watching this and be coming for you.
Yeah,
anyway,
no, I'm being kind. I said stop.
I'm going to pass you over to BOSSNASS, mate. How are you doing? Just, tell us how.
Yeah, I'm all right, boys. Yeah, absolutely terrible recommendation by Sean, I must say.
That's not what happened. we put the full power of our recruitment crew into action. We scoured YouTube. Everyone else turned us down, and then we asked you, and you said yes.
Yeah, I've got to say, people, the wages aren't bad, so I'll be here as long as I can be here.
He's a liar.
Listen, Sean, he's decided to have a break. Circumstances change in life, this, that, and the other. So that's totally. Look, we all love the guy, and I am keeping his seat warm. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, because this is genuinely me, and I'm not just gassing this. This is my favourite show of the week. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous to be on it instead of watching it. But I'm here to keep Sean's seat warm in case he does return. But if he doesn't, you'll have to put up with me for quite a while, I reckon. Exactly. So yeah, very grateful to be here, and very grateful to be part of this thing that we call Late Night Leeds.
Exactly.
Mate.
Yeah, we are out, mate. We've been talking a while. Absolutely. BOSSNASS is his channel's doing really well. The link is in the description. We'll chat about it as we get through the show. BOSSNASS on Leeds. Go check him out. He does content a little bit different to everybody else, but really good content. Love his way he speaks about Leeds. He's a smart guy, and we are very lucky to have him. Anyways, we thought we would have a little bit of a recap of the season so far. Not too much depth, but we'll go into the 3 games previous and get BOSSNASS's sort of take on there. If that's all right with you boys, here we go. So cool. He's so cool at these, you boys. He's so cool. But yeah, everyone in chat, thanks for being here. 50 already watching. Please smash that like button. Get that algorithm ticking over. Get people engaging. Thank you very much for being here. Right then, I want to go straight off with you, BOSSNASS. Obviously, Everton, great 45 minutes. Get the win. Get a spanking at Arsenal. And then we sort of rein it in a little bit against Newcastle and sort of, stem that bleeding. And now everything looks sort of positive moving into tomorrow. But yeah, just a quick roundup of the 3 games. How are you feeling so far, buddy?
Yeah, Everton. I mean, when I watched that first half versus Everton, genuinely, I was just there And do you know, like, remember that first game? And this is, again, it's not the same kind of spectrum. It wasn't the same jump, but it was like that Bielsa effect where I was like, oh God, we can actually really play at this level. Like, genuinely, I was like smiling from ear to ear. It's the first time in a long time where I've been watching a football match, just smiling, just like literally smiling. I was so proud of the boys. Like, I was so impressed with their intensity, the way that they didn't let Everton really breathe on the ball, the way that they wasn't over respecting the team. Yeah, so I came away from that game, the Everton game, with real renewed up. I actually came away from that Everton game going, Farke's a bit of a boy, isn't he? Like this guy's come to play football. Like he's come to, like, we aren't taking no prisoners. We're not here just to make up the numbers. So I came away from that super, super happy. Nmecha's penalty, like, it was just like, it was deadly, wasn't it? It was bottom corner, no messing about. It didn't have a stupid run up. There was no really kind of Bamford fear going on because we didn't know what we was going to get with that penalty.
No.
Straight bottom corner, and I was like, because I've always been a bit on the not sure about Nmecha, and Matty's always been, yeah, I think he's going to be really good. So when he scored that like that, I was thinking, oh, Matty might be right on this one. But yeah, Everton game, tick that one out. I was like really impressed with that. For a first game of the season against opposition that are going to be not struggling this year, I don't think they're going to be struggling one bit this year.
No.
To come away with that win, yeah, buzzing. 7.5 out of 10 performance. And then the Arsenal debacle happened, which you went to the game, and I genuinely, mate, and I know the banter on the bus and the experience of the day will have made up for a lot of it, but my God, like that was naive football. And that little bit of hope that Farke gave me from the Everton game, chuck it out the window. It's gone. Like it went within 30 minutes, genuinely. And I was like, oh no, this isn't the plan for the season, is it? This isn't the blueprint you're going to do and make us play week in, week out at stadiums across this country with teams that have got better players than ours, is it? Really?
You know
Is that
what?
what you're thinking?
BOSSNASS on that. It was like a PE teacher, wasn't it? It's like that was proper levels of PE teachers set up a football team to play against Arsenal. Thought that'll work, and it was so far off. It was embarrassing, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, genuinely.
Hopefully, he learns from it. But
yeah, so I don't really want to talk about that game too much because it was just it was just a schooling. It was genuinely, we got took to school. We got embarrassed. Like at the end of the day, you don't try and play Arsenal at Arsenal's game at the Emirates.
No,
like not even some of the top teams in the league try and do that. So that really kind of, and do you know what as well? I reckon some of those players would be absolutely fuming after that game. I think I've said that to a few people. That players' WhatsApp group would have been going off because if they're like, if as professional sports people with pride and you know, their career is looked at all the time, constantly, right? To get put out in that formation, playing that type of football against that team, they would have been absolutely fuming. So yeah, want a good day. But then we followed it up with Newcastle, which I think showed a different aspect to this team, which is a real appetite for a fight, some grit. I think Sean Longstaff kind of showed us why he's been brought into this team during that game. So, you know, it wasn't the best spectacle. I think for the neutral, it would have been probably quite boring. But for me, as a Leeds fan, I'm sure all of you guys in the chat, I was just captivated by it because I was just kind of reassured a little bit after the 5-0. No, hang on a minute, we can still be in games. We're willing to fight. We're willing to put our studs, you know, in the ground and stand up and not just be rolled over. So that kind of physicality thing that the board and the recruitment team have done through the summer kind of stood up, and we had to go, okay, yeah, look, you've got that bit right. We've just got to work on putting the ball in the back of the net. And then if we do that and we get that right, my whole kind of outlook on the season will change for the better.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just touching on there, the Newcastle game, Adam Longstaff is your boy, name. Is he your boy this season, Mr. Longstaff?
Well, he was bought to start games, wasn't he? Someone has started 170 Premier League games, comes into a promoted side at, what is he, 20? Is he 26, 27? Don't know. If he's bought by a promoted side, he comes in to start. If you play a 4-3-3, it's made for him. Jules, getting up and down the pitch, legs in there. Not technically perfect. Not going to do a lot in either box necessarily, but between the boxes, he's a brilliant footballer. Like, he's a really, really good Premier League centre midfielder. You know exactly what you're going to get from him every single game. And I think for me, I would be starting him as many games as possible. Him and Stack and Ampadu would be my first three. I know Tanaka comes into it for a lot of people. Of course, he's a class footballer, but I think we're going to be playing without the ball a lot this season. So Longstaff makes a lot of sense to me. On the season so far, we've played the team in third, the team in fifth, and the team in 17th. The team in 17th is Newcastle. Two of those teams have played Liverpool. It's only 3 games, I appreciate. So it's got to level out, of course. But it's quite interesting that I think we've been quite good. Newcastle and Everton, I think we got a little bit lucky in terms of the teams they put out, but you only play what's in front of you. We've looked decent in both. And what should be a real issue in terms of for us at the moment to talk about is not scoring goals. But I'm not overly worried about that. I think we've got in lots of these half decent positions where the sort of it's not even the final ball, it's the ball to the final ball, it's the ball before. We've just mucked up, we've rushed it a little bit. I think we just need to show a little bit more patience. 4-3-3 is always going to be quite spread out, isn't it? You know, like trying to get those little interchanges, having enough of the ball is tough. And I think there's been some players, James in particular, Nonto's been okay in the build-up, slightly below their level. So I think there's lots more to come from people, and lots more to come from the team, and people to come in. Okafor alike, DCL alike. So I'm not really worried about that at the moment, and I'm quite happy with the start of the season.
Yeah,
well, Arsenal side, you can just put the Arsenal side to go. We were always going to lose that game of football, and the way we lost it was shocking. But we can just park that, I think, for our own sanity.
Do you know what as well? What's something that's not really been touched on? And obviously, we always compare Leeds and go, right, we've played Everton, who I think we've played all 3 teams, I think, comfortably finishing top 10. I say comfortably, Everton will flirt with it. I reckon Everton could finish in top 10 this season. Right, I genuinely believe that. I think Newcastle will obviously a little bit higher up, and Arsenal will be in probably top 2. But something that gets talked about is, you look at the players against our players, and they've got a different caliber, different levels above what we've got. Obviously, of Arsenal, Newcastle have 2. There's an argument that Everton have, a handful that are way above our station. But when you look at the managers, so you look at let's compare the managers. So, Arteta did a number on Farke, or Farke did a number on himself, whichever way you look at it, that's a mismatch. But look how well he's done against the Moyes and Eddie Howe. When you look at that, he's set up in a way to get us 4 points out of those 6 points there that were on offer against 2 seasoned Premier League managers, top draw Premier League managers. You can say what you want about Moyes. Moyes at Everton's a different animal for me. A little bit like imagine if Chris Wilder was still at Sheffield United, they wouldn't be getting bummed 5-0 and be bottom at league. You know what I mean, though? I just had to drop that in there. Woohoo, get in. But no one's really speaking about Farke in those matches, matching up against the managers he was against. And I think in those games, he got his tactics spot on. I think home game, as we've said, the home advantage, the fans, the players, all grouping together and getting those points. But Farke tactically in those 2 home games, I think got them spot on, lads. And, even at Everton, when you're bringing on the likes of Aronston and Harrison to go win you a game, it worked, even though I don't want to see that as a sub later on when you're needing a goal, but that's where we are as a side. But it's worked. And I think, Farke looks like he never seems too far away from a couple of draws or a couple of losses, and people are talking about him leaving again. And, I know that conversation's always going to be there till Day's not here no more. But if you look at the 2 games where you should, or you possibly could be picking up points, it's either side of that Arsenal game. And he did it. And he did it against managers who are way better and more experienced in the Premier League than Farke. So I just wanted to sort of drop that in and put a bit of a positive spin on Farke, rather than just saying the lads played well and he played well. Something that I haven't really heard anyone else speak about is just how Farke matched up against those other managers. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, anyone, but I'm probably talking.
You're right. Of course, the Moyes thing I was really impressed with. I think he just what they did really well. He obviously got lads really up for it, and they matched the crowd's energy and aggression and all those sorts of elements and the running power. And I think he got that spot on. And I think he's setting the team up very well for that. Against Newcastle, if I was looking at Newcastle, if I was a Newcastle fan, I would have really questioned what Eddie Howe did in that game. Actually, like Livramento was on the wing. I mean, he's a good attacking fullback. Elanga was on the bench. Harvey Barnes on the bench. I don't know how injured they were. They played a very odd team, I thought. Really odd. I mean, we're talking about in the group, actually. Me and BOSSNASS were saying, like, we're now worried about them coming on, and this might be smart play, match us for energy, and then bring those sort of finishing lads on, Elanga and Barnes. But they come into the game, did nothing. and we brought our finishing lads on, Harrison and Aronson. And I mean, that's a really interesting point to say it worked because it won. I mean, it did. How much impact it had in that win, I don't know. And
He crossed it, but penalty.
I'd really love to ask Farke what is he trying to achieve in that? I think we can all guess. I think we can have a good idea. But what is he trying to achieve in that 60-minute sub of Aronson and Harrison every time? Just running power comes on. We're trying to then force a bit of a higher press. What's the concept? I love to get his analysis on that and hear what his thoughts are behind it. But yeah, I mean, Farke's done absolutely fine so far. There's no doubt about it. And fine is really good enough. Like, we're not looking for miracles. We're not looking for 12. So fine is fine.
Yeah, I'm struggling to kind of portion out how good Farke has been against, Everton were playing there was playing players out of position. We have to be right about that. Newcastle had a lot of injuries. And look, I know that this...
You're right.
It is right. Right. So, and it's like, if you're playing poker, you can play the same hand 3 times and get 3 different results. And that's kind of what I've seen so far. Do you know, like, he's played 4-3-3. He's put his best players on the pitch, and he's played in the same way. Like at the press conference the other day, he's mentioning, we've come to play football. We're not going to change our DNA. That really worries me.
Oh, yeah.
That really worries me, because is he talking this style of football, this formation, these players? Whoever's playing, we're going to play the same way with the same formation against every team, whether at home or away, and see where we finish at the end of the season, because that really worries me. So I don't know where I'm at with how much credit to give Farke yet. For me, the jury's out. However, he is a manager that for the first time in his career as a Premiership manager has been able to spend 100 million. So I don't really take into account any of the Norwich positional stuff. No. Like, this is a clean slate for him, and at 3 games in, I can't really comment too much. But it's still, the jury's out for me. He still needs to prove a lot. But I'm there to be. I want him to succeed, because Leeds do well if he succeeds.
It's still.
Do you know, on what Farke has said, and the Arsenal game, and saying, I think I wouldn't change anything, those sorts of things. Farke's never admitted fault in anything. He's in publicly. He's never admitted fault or anything's gone wrong at any stage. He's always had an excuse, which is sort of okay, because actually, then the proof's in the pudding when it actually gets away at Liverpool or away at Man City, and actually, I know we're going to talk about it later. The Fulham away games are a really good indicator for it. That's a really proper Premier League game against a decent mid-table Premier League side. That'll be really telling for us what he tries to do there. And if he does over attack, we'll be vulnerable again, or try to control the ball, or whatever it may be. He's got a horses for courses every single game. If we try and just go into Fulham, we'll get picked off, because they've again got good enough players. Fulham are such, they're the middle of the road, perfect Premier League side to play against, and it's a really good barometer. But I say Farke not admitting fault is nothing new. And I think he has changed and tweaked in the past, and because he'll never in publicly criticize himself in any form, any way, or say anything negative about anything he's ever done. He loves an excuse, so that's why it doesn't particularly bother me. But obviously, I mean, we've not seen a lot of flexibility from in the past. We haven't had to, so I'm just presuming and hoping it'll cost him. It'll cost him in the long run if he doesn't change anyway, because the board aren't going to put up for very long.
I think how you just describe Farke, then isn't that just every man? My wife would say that's just me. Never admit I'm wrong.
But no, it's fine. But
Jennifer would say that about you.
No, but I don't make mistakes, so it's fine. Like,
oh man, you're funny, man. Anyway, let me just quickly check this chat here, because Christopher Spofford Chapel has gifted 50 Imagine Not Being Leeds memberships. You're absolute legend. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, you also met me at the end of my walk, which I appreciate even more, mate. So, yeah, thank you so much for that, Christopher. Absolute legend. So I don't know how that works, but everyone can, I assume, get one who's in chat. So Top Banana, start again, Christopher. Justin, Top Man, Christopher. Legend, Christopher. You are a bit of a legend, mate. Thank you so much for that, buddy. Appreciate all support you give the channel. Top man, top man. Moving on then, boys. I would like to, while he's in, go on to Mr. Whitesnake's poem, if you don't mind. Mr. Whitesnake, Leeds fan, lives in New Zealand. If nobody knows him, where have you been, living under what rock? But here's his poem for this week.
Mr. White Snake writes, poetry from New Zealand.
To all you Leeds fans, my sisters and my bro, the international break is on, in case you didn't know. The creators are all steaming, there's nothing to be said. The information highway has pretty much gone dead. Then Gruef did a Leedsy thing, wanting commitment and true grit. Supposedly called the manager out, who chucked a hissy fit. Then, of course, young Matty O, with Leeds Town's cheeky smear. Just stop your talking, lad, or I'll clip you round the ear. I have to mention the walk of pain, Old Trafford to Elland Road, Matty and his motley crew, so proudly they all strode. That's the week that was. Next, it's Fulham that we face. Let's put our best foot forward, and let's put them in their place. Have a good weekend.
Mr. White Snake writes, poetry from New Zealand.
I do love that, man. What a lovely man. Thanks again, Steve. You absolute legend, mate. You absolute legend. Be loads of love in chat for you as usual. Yeah, Mr. White Snake.
Yeah, man, Steve is always checking in on me as well, so I love Stevie. Great guy.
His class, great, Mr. White Snake. Absolutely love it. Irish potato shortage, he says. Class, absolutely class. Right then, moving on. This is your bit, BOSSNASS. BOSSNASS has got his own section now. He has to have. Here we go. Class that, BOSSNASS. Well done.
Right, guys. So basically, what we decided was in the group chat about only a few hours ago is that I'm going to pick out a couple of bits of the news that really they've been covered, but just not massively. And then I'll kind of talk us through them, and then we'll discuss them as a panel. And then everybody get involved in the chat, tell us what you think, and then we'll pop it up as Matty does all the time. So basically, first one is this. The New York Times did a piece regarding the 49ers pitch for investment, saying that they're going to make the club £1 billion asset within 5 years. Right, we've all seen that, haven't we? Within that, I've picked out two things. The first being that there is going to be an inner city academy. So essentially, what they're aiming to do is they've looked at the historical background of Leeds United and the academy, and how they basically aided our rise to the Champions League years, etc., etc. Financially, a great thing to have as well. So looking at the academy that we've had from 1990, these are just a few names, right? So Gary Speed, he came through Leeds Academy, graduated out of that. I'll just go through them all. Batty, Kelly, Kuehl, Smith, Robinson, Woodgate, Milner, Lennon, Delph, Rose, Cook. But you get the message, you get the picture, right? So what they're going to do is they're going to funnel quite a decent amount of money into a new inner city academy and try and get all the local talent from all the local schools, and even branch out to try and bring other talent in from further afield within this kind of Yorkshire Vale to, again, bring through talent, which will be PSR gold, right? Not that we're going to sell them all, but we'll keep the best ones and sell the ones that maybe don't quite make the top grade on PSR, 100% profit, etc., etc. So what's your thoughts on that, boys?
Go on, Adam.
It's a way off, though, isn't it? I mean, it's been talked about for so long as this inner city academy. I mean, I guess part of the money raised, 120 million, is going towards this. Where it's going to be, I mean, I guess they haven't got a site for it yet. Planning, it's going to take a long time, isn't it? I think it's a great idea. It's a really good concept. Obviously, Four Parks is a long way away from the city, isn't it? And then the access and everything else. Didn't the training ground used to be next to Elland Road? Didn't it used to have a training pitch next to Elland Road? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No,
Not sure.
I made that up.
I think when it comes to sort of that academy sort of pathway, like you say, I think that's the way forward, isn't it, for a club like Leeds United? You know, unless you get some Saudis come in and take over and pump loads of money in. You know, we've got rich owners now, but like you say, in a world of PSR and stuff, it's hard to really spend in it. So the way is to get those. My Theo is 6-year-old. He could play for Leeds United, I'm telling you now. But get him in young, train him, get him through that pathway and bring him through. And, I've no but the cost of just training him up and getting them to that point. And then, like you say, selling them on for millions as much as we don't want them to. Or hopefully they come through and play for Leeds United because they're that good. So, like you say, as a Leeds fan, I know what it's like when, you stood in that stadium and you're watching a Calvin Phillips, Alan Smith many years ago, even players from League One days, when you got like Moat coming through and Cook. You want to see people come through, don't you, who are local lads or people who's come through academy and been there for many years. So it's something that I think every Leeds fan would love. But like Adam says, it still feels a way off, doesn't it, before you get to that sort of stage. But hopefully we can have plenty of local lads playing for Leeds United.
It is crucial, though. Like Boston said, it's crucial for the future of the club. And it's a tough, and anything you can do to make it easy for these young lads to play and stay at Leeds, because every club's looking at every area now. It used to be everyone just scouted the local areas, didn't they? But everyone's in fingers in every single area. And I think it's getting tougher. So anything you can do to make it so players come through. Even Oliver, forgot his second name, went to Spurs in the summer for next to no money, 15, 16 years old. Everyone was after Harry Gray, still after Harry Gray. You can't protect them until they're 17 when they turn professional and they sign a contract. Gordon went to Man City as well. It's really tough, but you got to get as many through as possible. And that, by the way, that's what it's all about as well, isn't it? There's nothing like supporting players come through. There was a Leeds fan, Leeds Academy, and come through to the first team. There's nothing like that for a football fan. One of your own.
That's a good little pick up, that BOSSNASS.
Yeah, well, I've just literally, the New York Times analysed the article and basically went, we think this means this, we think that this means this, and I'm just kind of regurgitating, so I can't take too much of the credit. Second one, it seems like, and they've outlined it within that data roll or data pack, whatever they call it, Leeds will be upping the price of their tickets on average within the next 5 years. I think this is a 5-year plan. At best 5 years. The average price now, if you take away hospitality and you take away season ticket, when you average it out, obviously that's lower. But if you take season tickets, you take hospitality out, our average price of every different area of the ground comes in at 47 quid. So that's the lowest and the highest in the middle.
Not done it.
So my question to you boys and the rest of the chat, get yourselves involved, is what is your kind of upper limit of what you'd be happy to pay? Just on an average, don't take into account like C, B, A plus, just on average, just as a match going fan. What is that kind of threshold that you're comfortable at going to? And what do you expect in return for that extra added money that you will be paying out of your own bank accounts? What would you like to see done? Maybe renovated, changed, improved? Matty, you'll be the best for this because you're pretty much there every home game.
Yeah, please smash the likes, people. Like Top Banana says, there only 44 likes. I would say, mate, I'm sort of at what I think I'd be comfortable paying. Although I'd honestly pay £100 a ticket. Although then you start affecting your family, don't you, in your life because it's too much. I mean, I pay around that now for East Stand. It's pretty much about 48 quid a ticket. I think to see it go into 50s, which I think I paid 52 quid for Everton ticket. I don't know why we're booking fees, maybe, I don't know, but 52.50. When you see it go into 50s, it feels a little bit too much. I think they've got a fan zone round back at Cop, and that's all right. But I think maybe some sort of entertainment and stuff in and around the stadium, maybe on match day might help. I mean, I go to Peacock, but maybe if there were more in and around the stadium rather than a couple of outside bars for fan zone. I don't think it's maybe live music. They've got a stage there. Some games they have a band on. Sometimes it's very rare, but it does happen. I don't know if things like that feed into it a little bit more. But I do think I'm probably at my comfortable limit now, in and around 50 quid to sit where I think if it's gonna inflate over the next 5 years, are you going to be into 60s in 5 years time, maybe more? It's a bit of a madness, really. It's moving away from the working class sort of sport, really, as we know. And when we have the revamp of Elland Road, a chunk of that's going to go to hospitality again, because that's where the money is. If you can get put a nice little meal out there and put another 300-400 quid on top of a match day ticket, it's well worth doing it for the price of a few ingredients. You know what I mean, to put on a plate for someone. So for me, way I see it, it's definitely the working man's going to struggle to keep going to football. I've seen plenty of stories across different clubs, across the media over the last couple of years where people have been going to season tickets for 20, 30 years, have had to give it up, and they're going to watch the local sides, which is a shame. I'm hoping that doesn't go the way for us. But it's just, I suppose it's just the way of the world at the minute, lads. But yeah, to answer your question in a long way, I'm about at my max what I'm happy now with BOSSNASS 50 quid.
That's I think if you go to like Arsenal, Spurs, these new stadiums, I think if you get a match day ticket, it's about 70 odd quid for an, like. But obviously that's very dear, and that's a brand new. These are amazing stadiums to go to, but I think it's short sighted to put up the general admissions and GA's tickets. Just like when you get big clubs, they have a club level which they pack out, and then you have the boxes and you have lounges. And I don't think it's got into massive numbers in terms of the overall capacity, and charge those people 300-400 quid a game because they will pay it. They will pay it, and they do, and that is where the focus is, and that's where all money is. Spurs make £5 million a home game. They take £5 million a home game. So but that's because they got a club level of 15 seats deep all the way around the stands that are paying 300 quid a ticket, and you get a pint of beer, and you might find a hot dog laying on the floor somewhere. Last time I went, there was no seats. There wasn't even anywhere to sit down in the club level bit all the way around. So it's all about, I think as a club, the focus will be on hospitality, but I think, and you can do it in a really smart way that doesn't necessarily eat into the atmosphere or anything else. And that's how you keep the prices down for the general admission. And I think that's what clubs should have a focus on. A real focus.
Yeah, I think they do that, do they? I think Liverpool are complaining, and other big teams like that, because they're basically wanting to get their season ticket allocations down. They want them down. They want people to be. They want people to be paying over the odds because they get more money through just normal match day tickets, and people come in as a family, maybe spending 100 quid on food, going to the club shop, spending 100 quid on.
Like Christopher says, they're BOSSNASS shirts as well. They're 70 quid now for an adult shirt.
That is ridiculous. That's just crept up, hasn't it? Absolutely.
That tourist money is so important, to keep up commercially these days. And as much as it's an ugly part of football, it's one of those where you got to look at it and you got to go, well, if we really want to compete with these top clubs, do we have to concede that as a fan base, we do have to shell out a bit more in order to get our commercial revenue up, and then to buy those players that everyone moans about that we didn't get? It's one of them. It's a scary thought when you think that at the end of the day, it does eventually come down to the revenue brought in.
The problem is, it's next to nothing. So say 30,000 people to a game, £5 a ticket, creeps up over 2-3 years to a £5 extra. Say 35,000 people a game. Was I 30,000? Sorry, so 150 grand a game, 19 home games a season. What's that? 3 million. So it's next to nothing in the grand scheme of things. Do you know what I mean? Like the clubs ought to be so much smarter than that. It's like I think there's so many other things to look at, costs and income, that make a business work. And actually, clubs should have a real focus on looking after fans. Like waiting list. There's a waiting list of what, 20,000 all paying 50 quid a year just to be on the bloody waiting list. There's lots of other ways to do it. And I think, general admission tickets should be the last thing to go up. Anything around 50 quid is so expensive in itself already, and anything above that is unnecessary.
I saw an idea online. It might have been on like a podcast, because I watch so much podcasts and stuff like that, but it was a great idea and I loved it. Where it's like each club gets to basically sell their own kind of viewing rights to
this is huge.
Platform.
Yes.
Like a platform like Netflix or whatever, or like a bespoke platform where you buy season. You buy, like, if you can't make games, you financially can't afford it, you haven't got the mobility to do it, it doesn't suit you in terms of you might be autistic, you might have sensory needs, all those things which can affect why people don't go to games. You can buy a season ticket through a media distributor, and then pretty much all of that money goes to the club. That would be so ideal.
That's been the aim for big clubs for a long time, is to sell their own TV rights. have your own channel, whatever it may be, within Netflix, and you sell each game for £10, you buy a season ticket for £6 for every game, you know, like whatever, and the amount of money these clubs will make, it would be astronomical compared to what they get now through TV. But the problem of course is, and maybe it's the right thing, the ones with the bigger fan bases, and the problem is in football, the ones with a bigger fan base in the world now are the ones that have had success in the last 15 years. The one that had Cristiano Ronaldo, the one that had Mo Salah, whoever it may have been. The kids grow up supporting a player these days rather than a team, and so that, you know, that it'll be that those teams will go, and it'll make the divide so much bigger than it is now. Actually, the Sky money going out as it is quite a leveler. But it's not a leveler for Europe, of course. So that's why Europe won a Super League. So it's quite a broke business at the moment. It's a broke business in terms people buy football clubs, they want to own a football club, not because they think they can make any money off the back of it. So it's a vanity piece for them. You know, I was saying that, that's a bit silly to say, because exactly what we're talking about now is the investment arm. You have to buy Leeds United in the Championship, grow the club in a meaningful sort of right level way in terms of what it will spend, because they spend, you know, talking about 100 million a year on transfers. They know it all levels out. Then you can grow a club and make and grow the brand and sell it for, grow the turnover, make it established Premier League club. And that's what they're saying about when they make it worth £1 billion in 2030, I think they said. So there is something in that, but that's not football, is it? Either, you know, that we want Leeds to win games, and they want Leeds to win games because of money. But that's kind of fine. That's their only advantage. That's their only viewpoint. They're not Leeds fans, and it's all a bit messy, isn't it? There's two sides of this. Us as fans just loving the club, want to see good football, and they just want to win. They just want to win games of football in the cheapest possible way and get as much money into the club. And they might tell you that, and they might be quite legitimate in trying to help fans or whatever it may be, but it's hard to see sometimes. And that's not just Leeds United. That's football, whole of football.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry.
Great points there, BOSSNASS. No, great.
Anyway, we got through that one for the first time.
Were you nervous? Were you nervous about your own little bit there?
Nervous about this whole thing. Somebody just put there's like 88 people in the chat, and I nearly you know what I mean?
Shit's not swearing on my show, mate. That's PG.
No swearing.
No, that was great, mate. Like I say, we'll do that every week, mate. Bring up a couple of points that maybe not everyone else is talking about, and we'll dial in on those and have a bit of a chat. I thought that was quite really interesting, to be fair. 2 great points there you picked up, mate. Brilliant. Right, let's get into the main talking point then, really, of this show. So tomorrow we play Fulham. Fucking love them. Yeah, so Fulham tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff, which is annoying a lot of people because apparently it's going to be really hard to watch. I hope that's not true.
I've got a route now, a VPN with there's someone picked up all the rights in Canada to every Premier League game, and you get VPN. You pay them their subscription, and you can watch every Premier League game on it basically online. That's
nice.
what
I've got a cheaper way than that, but I'm not going to go into it on a public platform.
Just a quick, and I'm just going to shout out BOSSNASS's channel here, BOSSNASS on Leeds. Please make sure you go over and check BOSSNASS out. I think he's got 110 subscribers. Been on Late Night Leeds every Friday. It's going to hopefully surpass that pretty quickly. So really good content, really quirky, really fun, and really smart guy, as you can see. So please go check out BOSSNASS's channel. But yeah, getting into tomorrow's game then, lads. I've sort of changed my view as the week's gone on. I started out as a 1-0 loss, thinking a lot of people just throw Fulham in that box of it's Fulham, but it's London. Fulham are a way better side now than last time we were in Premier League. They've got a decent manager who's been shown, some loyalty there, and it sort of worked. He's, for me now they're a middle Premier League sort of team, just never looking over the shoulder now, can maybe have a bit of a run into that top 10 if they have a really good season. But, they're not in danger of that. They've got some really good players. Obviously, we'll get into your lineups and that soon, Adam. And, when you look at their 11, there's a fair few players there I'd have at Leeds, to be fair. A fair few players Leeds wanted as well in their squad. Harry Wilson and Mooney's being the main one. He could start up top tomorrow, which made it to how we sort of line up as well with how physical and how athletic he is. But I've sort of moved into a positive light now where I'm to and fro between a draw and a 2-1 win for Leeds. But where's your head at, Adam, with this one, pal?
As I said earlier, I think it's a really good test because I think they're a strong, established Premier League side, and they're about a good level for us to play against and find out where we're at. They've got a lot of decent players, strong, reliable Premiership players. Their attack up until this window probably is quite workmanlike a little bit, relying on Alex Iwobi, etc. But I mean, like Robinson's a brilliant left back. Tete's a really good right back. Bassi, Anderson, centre backs. There's Lukic, Berger, centre midfield. They've got a really strong side. I go there with. I think we should be optimistic. We should be looking to win, of course, and I think we can win. I know, but I think we've got to set up quite pragmatically again and match them physically, which is really important. Is what they do. They play fairly direct at times, but so they're just a good Premier League side, and it's a really good test. About as far as I go on it, really.
Good manager as well. I like Marco Silva. Really good manager. Again, another one of those managers who's had a fair bit of experience now in Premier League, done well most places he's been, and Farke has got to somehow figured a way out of getting some points out of an away trip to London, which is something we don't do very regular. BOSSNASS, what's your feelings on it?
I really like Fulham as a footballing side. I think if you look at what they do, like transfer business wise, they always get in real technically able footballers. You know, like there's none of them that really are clunky, or you'd say, you know, even Iwobi, technically he's all right. He can go around a guy, not very fast, but he can. The physicality of the guy, he'll just put his arms out like that. But I really do like. I like the way Fulham play football. I think they play it the right way. I think Marco Silva's a very good manager. That Josh King lad, that young lad, he's looking tasty. The battle between Anthony, what's his name?
Robinson.
They're left back.
Anthony Robinson.
Anthony Robinson and Bogle tomorrow is just going to be prime time because they both like to get forward. And they both like to put balls in, but again, they're both better going forward, I would say, than they are defensively. So it's going to be interesting watch them two go at it. I think with players like Sander Berger, Iwobi, Calvin Bassi, you have a real element of physicality in there. So the boys are going to have to really stand up to that. You're going to have to really earn the right to play tomorrow. So it's one of those where it's like a mixture of. It's a mixture of the Everton game and the Newcastle game in one. They've got some flair players that can take on a man and be dangerous. Don't give them too much time, too much space. But they're also going to be really physical and not be bullied. I think their weakness is balls coming into the box with a decent amount of height on. They've been caught out with that a few times this season, but we can get at that with our height. It's going to be a really nip and tuck game. And I just don't know which way it's going to fall tomorrow. But it is one of those games that we do have a chance of winning, and we need to go full throttle because 3 points down in London, priceless in this league.
Oh, massive. Yeah, massive.
No, I agree. Go on.
It's like you say, physicality is really they're actually, I think, a really good blueprint for what we should be looking to do. Like decent technical players, and all of them have. Like Bassi's a bit of a beast, gets around the pitch quick. Anderson's good in the air, solid player, but he's a really good baller. He's a proper baller. Well, Anderson, he can strike a long ball. They're a strong side, and I say it's a really good test for us. And I think their lineup and the way they're set up and the players they've bought over the last few years is a good blueprint for us as a club.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think their centre halves are really good. I don't mind Leno in net. I do think it's sort of written in it that Muniz or maybe Harry Wilson has a good game tomorrow. We'll have to see how it goes. But our main thing, I think, is can we get that monkey off us back in terms of can we score from open play? We've really struggled, haven't we? That penalty that you spoke about earlier, BOSSNASS from Nmecha. Unbelievably so. We've got Anton Stack, who's second in creating big chances, which I assume a lot of them will come from set pieces, with him taking corners, etc. Remember Strauch having a header against, might have been Newcastle or no, but Arsenal won it. Arsenal, so that'll have gone down as one. But I was surprised to see that Stack because it doesn't feel like we've created 10 big chances as a club, let alone all coming from Stack. But it's something that we need to sort of. I don't want it to roll on for another game and another game. It needs to be sort of nipped in bud now. So. I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds, but I probably think it's going to be a 1-1. But it's going to be interesting to see how we line up. Do you want me to go into your lineups, Adam?
Okay, thank you.
I'm intrigued to see what this one says. Let's have a look. It's not like I haven't looked at it already. Look at that,
I can barely
beautiful.
make it out from my graphics. Like I say, like just moving away from it.
that is mine, Adam's, and BOSSNAS's brain, our ADHD brain. That is our brains. That's our three brains exploded onto a slide.
That's the group chat in a picture.
Talk us through that, because I don't agree with that, Adam. So this is Adam's lineup.
This is my chosen lineup. There's always an element when I say about what I want to happen, what I think Farke would do as well. I think Strauch and Rowe, I think they'll stick with the same back four. Darlow comes in for Perri. Means Meslier gets a chance on the bench. Suddenly, you know, whilst I said a week ago, why aren't we selling Meslier? Suddenly it starts to make some sense. But it's a bit far-fetched to put it down to that. Longstaff, obviously, Gruev stack. I think Gruev, I worry about his physicality in DM, but also his progression, his retention, his press resistance. I mean, he's a lot of concerns about it. And there's a real hope. I hope Ampadu's fit, because that makes a world of difference to us, a world of difference. But if not, Gruev, and I think it probably will be Gruev, and maybe should be Gruev. I think giving Ampadu a bit longer. I mean, he's been full training for a week, so I can see him starting. Then front three, I've moved Nonto over to the right. I'm really interested in Nonto. I think Nonto unlocks Bogle a bit more in terms of Nonto. That James this season not been very good, but also he's tried lots of flicks and giving the ball away an awful lot, and it's hard to build forward as a team if a player's just flicking the ball away regularly. Ball retention is really important in your wingers as well. If you're not trying to beat someone, you retain the ball every single time. And I think Nonto unlocks Bogle as a forward threat. There was a thought putting James in because of Robinson left back and his pace. But I think Robinson's pace probably nullifies James quite a lot. So that's why Nonto's in there. And I think he'll drift a little bit more and hopefully make some different angles on their right side, not hug the touch line, let Bogle get forward. Longstaff can cover there as well if needs be. Okafor, I just want to see starting. And DCO the same. There's I say their issue attacking at the moment. I think we've got into okay positions, not as regularly as we need to create enough. We've got okay positions, and we've shown a lack of composure. We've got in those positions, and Okafor and DCL, I don't think necessarily help that particularly, because I'm not sure they even got much composure necessarily. But I think they both bring technical ability. DCL's movement will make it easier for the other players around him. DCL's hold-up play, DCL in the air, I think he can make the world of difference to us, hopefully. He won't be 100% quite yet, but he shouldn't be far off. He's had lots of training now, and he's had quite a few minutes. So that would be my starting level. I don't know if you two, obviously, Matt, you do disagree slightly with something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Ampadu comes in for Gruev if fit, but you agree with that anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Nonto, it's an hard one because James has obviously just played for Wales. So it could be a little bit leggy potentially. He's out of form, which is the main point, really. He's not really got going even in pre-season. But I think this is a kind of game for me where he's probably needed. And yes, I do advocate of him maybe starting on bench and coming off the bench and having an impact later on game. But I do think this is a game where Fulham tend to play worse when they've got the ball, in terms of when a counter-attacking side has more chance, I think, in a game like this. You know, Fulham, when they have the ball, they do struggle to create chances. And I think as an outlet, if we're going to play that way, if we do sit back a little bit and soak up pressure, I think having James on for more minutes and maybe a 25-minute spell if he is on the bench and coming on late, I think he could be a great outlet for us. If DCL starting up front or Nmecha, I think both of them can bring the ball down, get flick-ons for him to get in behind. I just sort of look at it and think, and I know he's against, you know, Anthony Robinson if he's back. I know he's been on bench last 2 games as Robinson.
Yeah, he's back.
But either way, even Sessegnon, you know, they're both decent, quick players. But I think Robinson, as his Bogle, as his Firpo last season, very forward thinking. You know, he's going to have to be really switched on, especially if Dan James is there. So I do think there'll be times where Robinson's pushing up. If we can, you know, win that ball and get it in transition and get a ball to a Dan James, I think that could. If he starts and he's playing for, you know, the majority of the game, I think that could happen more often than not. Myself, you know, if he can lose Robinson further up the pitch and we do dispossess him. So I would rather have Dan James, and I also don't want to take him out of firing line just yet. You know, we're not getting pumped every week. We've got a decent points return. I actually would give him the opportunity to play out of this form. If anything, I would drop Okafor at bench and move Nonto to the left, because I think Nonto's started well this season. I think he's looked pretty good. Okafor, maybe I'm just not too keen on him at the minute, but then again, he ain't going to show him what to do if he's on the bench. But I would maybe look at Nonto on the left, Dan James on the right, and bring Okafor on for that 25 minutes, 30 minutes. That'd be my team. The rest of it looks sound. I wouldn't change, before I pass over you, BOSSNASS, I wouldn't bring Piroe in for this. I like what Strauch and Roden are doing. The 2 games where we hope they'd get points and were more likely to get points have kept 2 clean sheets. Yes, both at home, but the back 4 is a position for me you don't touch unless it's necessary and you really need to. So I would keep the back 4 as it is, and I would just move Nonto to the left, and I'd start Dan James. BOSSNASS.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying with the Piroe point. I would put him in there. He's a better player than Strauch. At some point, you have to bite the bullet, and you have to put your better players on the pitch. And for me, sooner rather than later, really, get him acclimatised up, chuck him in at the deep end against a top 6 team. Fulham to me seems perfect, and I know it is up. It is disrupting that back 4, which is one of those things which I totally get your point, but at some point it's going to have to happen.
Yeah,
so for me, it's one of those where I would. I totally agree with the midfield. Ampadu comes in for Gruev if Ampadu is fit enough to play. Up front, yeah, I think Farke will play Dan James tomorrow. I just do. I think Farke is one of those guys that he does like to have continuity in his forward positions quite a lot of the time. So I think you will see Dan James on the right, and I think you will see Nonto off the left, and I think you'll see DCL through the middle. If DCL is struggling, please let me see Okafor in centre forward, because he's a better centre forward than he is a winger. So I'd love to.
Don't want to play there, though, does he?
Oh, he did at Milan. He played there quite a few times.
I think his stats are better there as well. Obviously, I mean, playing up front, but he's publicly sort of said, he wants to play at left wing, and that's his favourite position. But then again, it's one
nice one, yeah. At the end of the day, you're at Leeds United.
Good for you, bud. Yeah.
Well, he's had a few falling outs with Switzerland manager, hasn't he? So we'll have to see how this goes.
On the Dan James thing, by the way, as well. The Farke bringing on Harrison and Aronson. If Nonto starts and Okafor becomes James and Harrison, because he just wants legs, and James offers the same legs as Aronson does to get around the pitch later on. And I think that unlocks James to be a better footballer, a more useful footballer for Leeds United in the Premier League than he is as a starter. I think he's a more useful footballer coming in the last 25 minutes. We'll get loads more out of him as that option than as a starter for me.
Yeah,
I think he just in the Premier League. He's not really good at shifting the ball before he shoots. He just sort of moves it about a foot and then just shoots. And the player stands and go, "Oh, thank you. I'll kick out." The Premier League footballers don't tend to fall for these little feints, etc., as much. So he's not quite as dangerous in the Premier League. And even tomorrow, it's final the break. I know it's a bit silly thing to say because Bassi and Robinson are so quick and so physical, the pair of them. You're not going to get a lot of joy on the break out of them two necessarily, even with Dan James. I know that's silly to say because someone's got to play there. And that's why I like Okafor on the left. Okafor's really quick as well. And Tete is quite quick himself, to be fair. But Okafor, I think, could have. And I think is, and the same argument for me, as BOSSNASS said about getting Piroe in, and I do like the idea. I think DCL and Okafor, just get them starting games of football, get that relationship building up, just get it going as quickly as possible. They've all had 2 weeks. I mean, they're not starting this game. What are we waiting for? They're either these players are either better players or they're not. So let's just get the best team we can on the pitch each game. It's really Premier League. You're not waiting for another. You're not going, oh, what happens Tuesday, Wednesday? You got another week then, and then you have another week, and then you have another week's rest. Every single time, just get the best team you can in that pitch out every single game.
Yeah, no, that's fair. How would you look at if Tanaka was available? Even if you were fit and firing, would you still not play him over Longstaff?
No.
Not
never. Just not.
Never,
I think Longstaff brings so much personality and leadership to the team as well, experience, and he verbalizes that experience. He'll tell players what he thinks and where they should be. I think he's another leader in the side, and he's say personality, and he brings it, and everyone knows he's there, and everyone knows what his personality is. And I think we need that more than ever right now. We haven't got that great right winger of the great Harry Wilson. We haven't got whoever we might have bought. So we need those personalities, need those dual winners. And I think Longstaff for me would start. Longstaff's Ampadu's stack would be the first choice midfield 3, by a country mile for me. As many
Oh,
games as possible.
All of a sudden as well, lads, you know, if that is the way we go forward, you know, if Tanaka is on the bench, if Dan James does become, you know, a bench player, which I suppose a lot of people are probably thinking maybe that's the way forward, all of a sudden you've got threats so coming off the bench, and all of a sudden your bench feels a bit more elevated than maybe it does bringing a Nonto or a Longstaff on. Maybe it's best to start with them players. You know, if you're needing a goal, Tanaka is more creative. I would suggest Dan a Longstaff, whether you agree with that or not, Adam, to come on in the last 20, 25 minutes if you're needing a goal, which I would assume there'll be a lot more games this season is where we need a goal later on than we're holding on to a win potentially. You know, I don't know how you feel about that, but I do think if you're looking at a Tanaka and a James on bench tomorrow, you know, maybe with a Nmecha, all of a sudden it starts to look a little bit better, does that bench? You know, once you've got DCL up and running and Okafor up and running, like you say, the bench sort of is getting a bit more flushed out with quality than what we've been used to early doors and previous years. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. On Tanaka, I think he's a brilliant footballer. I think he's got lots of traits and attributes that are better than Longstaff. But all the things I think we need from that midfielder, and that midfielder on the wide centre of the three, Longstaff brings over Tanaka for me. But yeah, a lot of options are saying Dan James and Harrison coming on 60 minutes. Dan James in particular should run defensive ragged coming on late, fresh. You saw it in the Championship. He's always and what Dan James is a brilliant sub because he's that push and run merchant, which is not a terrible thing. He's a really good sub. There's not a lot of nuance to his game. There's very little nuance, if there's any nuance to his game at all. You just push it past someone and run past them. And that's perfect. When your left back's knackered, Dan James coming on is a perfect player. And it's not like he has to get up to speed. He just does what he does. And he seems to be able to get into games, which is, people get beaten with this all the time. Oh, they didn't take their 10 minutes. Lots of players can't do it. Loads of players can't do it. Dan James can because of the way he plays football. He'll get into games very quickly.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. Goalkeeper, BOSSNASS. So Melee is back in the squad. He will play on the bench. You know, Farke alluded to that he trusts Darlow. Do you make this? Is this a big deal to you? It's been big news. Obviously, Perry's out for 2 games. I think minimum. I don't think it's much more than that. But if he's out for the next 2 games, is Darlow a good enough standing for you, or should we have gone out and bought someone who's going to challenge Perry for situations like this? You know, I don't know how you feel on Darlow starting this one. Are you bothered? I'm not too bothered. How about you?
Well, I think he's capable. I don't think. Look, we saw what happened against Sheff Wednesday, and that just simply can't happen. You can't have that.
No.
So you definitely can't have that in the Premier League. On Meslier, now I don't know what's going on with this because there's been rumblings now of that. We knew that Perry, obviously coming in with an injury, he might have been talking with the medical staff. Now, did we allow him to go out then? Because there is rumblings now that we might have been holding on to him towards the back. They said something didn't suit or the options didn't suit, but yeah, I have heard bits that we might have been kind of been wary to let him go because of Perry's status. But to me, the idea that Meslier is in a Leeds United squad in the Premier League in 2025 is just an abject failure by the board, absolute abject failure by the board. I don't understand how he can let it happen after what you saw in the promotion season, the season before that, the relegation season in the Premier League. It's not like he'd lost his form off a cliff edge. It had been slowly going down and worse and down, and more clangers and more calamities. We saw what happened at Sunderland. Like you couldn't end this window with him still being available for selection in this team. It's just a failure by the board for me. Even with, you know, you can talk about money, this, that, and whatever, all you want. He should have been, you know, although we did solve it with Perry, that position group, it should, you know, Meslier and Cairns should have been disregarded because they're just not at the level for the Premier League, and there should be someone pushing. There should be someone pushed there to push Perry and also Darlow as that fail-safe in case everything goes wrong. So it should have been sorted out. On your question, I think Darlow is capable. And he will be tested in this game, so he's going to have to stand up to some tests.
Yeah.
Do you know, because there sounds like they made noises that there was interest in Meslier, but they kept hold of him on purpose because Perry's out for a little while, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then it's about PSR and being stretched to the limit, and we couldn't go and get that right wing we desperately needed because we're stretched to the limit. If Meslier goes and we make 3, 4, 5 million and clear his wages off, and he's greedy and got to pay up his contract, whatever it may have been, you sort out with him. Then suddenly that if you go and play for 20 million over 4-year contract, you amortize the way you amortize the fee and the signing on fees, which you can do with agents and players, and then you got a wage which is to replace Melié's wage. Suddenly you unlock in selling up. That's where PSR is rigged, where you can sell players and it comes all net, and when you buy players, it's amortized. So it is rigged when you do it well. It's really simple when you do it well. So then don't come out and talk about PSR and go, we had to keep hold of our third choice keeper and we're tight on PSR. Well, again, the two things it just stops adding up. Because it doesn't add up, but it would have added up if they did it.
Haven't we got 4 keepers in our 25-man squad?
Yeah, but that's I mean, that's because you don't have registered players under 21. So you just keep throwing anyone that's over 21. You just chuck them in there with a pulse.
Sam Cairns, I think he's classed as homegrown. I don't know if that's a good enough reason to have him in signed on in the squad. For me, it's not. You've got Sam Cairns and you've got Melié, which just aren't up to their level. They're taking a wage and they're only good for training exercise. At Premier League level, Premier League Leeds United, that wants to be valued at £1 billion in 5 years, that's not good enough. And it's not. I don't want to crush them too hard because I know business is hard, and I know they've got some people in there that this is their first year really getting stuck into this market. But next year, for me, that should be the first 2 bits of business sorted out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me just move over.
Yeah, they don't get background.
Touch on Fulham's line. Now we spoke about Leeds. Who stands out there for your AG? Who's the big worry?
I think I put Kevin on the right wing. I don't know if he's going to start or not. I looked up a lot today, and there's a lot of talk about Session maybe starting the right wing. Castagna has been out there, very much a right back. Session's a very attacking left back, and he has played left wing. But if they start Session on the right wing, there's not a lot of ways. They've got the guy from Milan, haven't they, BOSSNASS? I forgot his name on loan. I don't know if he's up there. He's market value's not huge.
Is it Chukwueze they got?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you rate him?
Chukwueze is decent. Definitely. He's definitely good enough for Fulham's level. You wouldn't see him going to a top 6 side necessarily, but he's definitely someone that wants to be, has aspirations to play in the European competitions, be that Conference, Europa. So at Fulham, that is I'm guessing that will be their season target. So I'm guessing that's why.
No, absolutely. I mean, he might start right wing. I think King and Iwobi are locked down. Jimenez might start up front instead of Muniz, but I think you're getting a very, very similar sort of physical battle out of them two, whether it's Muniz or Jimenez. Berger, Lukic, very strong, solid. Both Berger 6'5", Lukic 6 foot. It's a big, strong, powerful team. This with good technicality. Iwobi's an interesting one because he's a real purple patch player, and he's not in a purple patch at the moment. But he's got to start somewhere. So you just hope it's not against you, because suddenly he'll score like 3 and 5 or wherever it may be, and beat, complete 4 or 5 dribbles a game. But sometimes it looks like he can't control the ball. But he's a decent Premier League player. Again, physicality. And I say Muniz and Jimenez both offer something very similar, and it's a battle. And that's why I don't necessarily mind Struijk. Struijk and Bijol are the same style centre back. Rodon's the cover sweeper sort of guy. They both want to go up, get physical, go up against us forward. Bijol will be the main guy going forward, no doubt about it. But yeah, I think so. That's why I didn't mind starting Struijk in this one necessarily. Although, as we discussed earlier, get your best players in as soon as possible and just start getting them into the same team. But it's just a solid, physical, decent, technical Premier League side.
I'm looking forward to seeing Berg up against Stack, that sort of battle, because Berg is a player I admire. I've really liked him for the last few years. Very similar footballer again. Yeah, I
Stack
think
and Berg are very similar. Very similar.
Strong, physical. Berg's a really technically good footballer as well for the size. Yeah. He's a player I'd have had at Leeds any year for the last 3 or 4. I really rate Berg. Got that bill. 3,000 feet on his plane to Philippines. Go on, Bill.
Where are we going to get joy against them? As Boss has said, maybe corners, free kicks. I think that's really important. They don't necessarily come up too high. If they do, Bassi and Sabrons and Tete, all quick players.
I fancy it's down their left better than down their right. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, Robinson. I really rate him, and Bassi. I know Anderson's good, and Tete and Kevin. But I'd say Kevin being the new signing.
If he plays,
if he plays. If not, it might be Chukwueze, guy who BOSSNASS said. I don't know where I can pronounce that name. Maybe he starts on left, on their right. Sorry, but I think looking in there, I think yeah, maybe down that side, especially if Okafor starts, if he's on it. Maybe that might be where we get his joy. Because for me, we have done so far this season. We've tended to play out more to left than we have to right. I don't know whether that's just been down to form of James, but I feel like we've attacked more down that left hand side. So if it is Okafor and he does start, I'm hearing big things about Okafor. It's supposed to be his next big thing, and I'm on the fence, but I'm hoping he's a player we all need him to be. Because let's be fair, we need that flair, and we've put a lot of our eggs in that Okafor basket for me as a club now, especially missing out on bringing in another, a 10 or another winger. He needs to be good, really, for what's left for Okafor to come in. So I'm hoping that he can hit the ground running this game. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be up against it because he has got some good players in that team he's facing. But Fulham away, it's not a team we should be worried about, lads. We're here for, we enjoy those big games, against the top 6 sides and stuff, but we know we're going to get, probably as arse handed to us quite a few times this season. Fulham away, as difficult as it is, and they're not the Fulham of old, it is definitely a game as a fan we should be looking forward to. One, it should be nip and tuck, and one we should be expecting Leeds to potentially get some out of this, which may sound a bit mad, but I sort of expect us to maybe get a point at least in this. Is that a bit too much to expect that at this point?
No, Fulham have drawn 2 and lost 1 in their 3 games. They're no great run of form. They've bought 4 players over the summer. A lot of that's, or a couple of those attacking. They're not. What it is for us is I keep saying this, sorry, but a really good indicator of our level. We've played the 3 games. We've had 2 weeks off. We're settled in Premier League. If the new players should be more settled in now. This is a proper physical, technical Premier League side, but I think it's a really good indicator of where we are.
Yeah, I think so. All to add, BOSSNASS.
Yeah, I'm very, very wary of Fulham. Very wary of Fulham. They've had some horrendous decisions go against them this year.
Yeah.
They've had some horrendous penalty decisions go against them this year. They've been in games they should have beat Man United. They should have beat them. So yeah, I'm very, very wary of Fulham, especially if they use Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah,
effectively. I think Anthony Robinson, I think Bogle and Nonto, if they are playing down the same side, which I'd like to see because I think they've looked very good together. I think they can potentially catch out Anthony Robinson because I think he is better going forward than he can be caught out defensively. This year, Fulham conceded majority of their goals either from corners or balls into the box, crossed into the box. So we'd be silly if we didn't try and capitalise on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, good comment, that, Richard. Before we go into the chat, I just want to sort of mention, obviously, a lot of these new players have come in. We brought 10 players in, 100 million quid. Been a lot of talk about, worried about keeping them fit. Are they going to pick up these injuries they've been picking up for the last few years? What I'd say is, obviously, we're hoping DCL can get through minutes and stuff, but we have had a few of these new players pick up injuries. Yeah, no major, but Bornau had one in pre-season. We've had Nmecha now pick up an injury. Okafor injured. We've had there's another one in there. I think 3 or 4 of these have already been injured in this first month of being at Leeds. Is that something that you are worried about going forward, lads, or is it just a case of like our friend Stevie, Mr. Whitesnake? Well, they might not get injured, so just crack on. But we have seen a few of them already pick up minor knocks, and it is a worry. I am worried.
Oh yeah, it's a massive worry. It's probably the most it's the most predictable thing that could have happened. You bought players that are known to pick up knocks like all the time.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I think the problem is it's sometimes a mindset, isn't it? My calf hurts slightly. I need to go and get that looked at. Where some players just play through it, and they're all human beings with different levels of pain barrier and everything else, and what's fair and what's right, and everything else goes with it. And there's something in that. There's something in mindset. I know injury is an injury, but some players sit out a game. It's no surprise or no that every time Ampadu gets injured, he's back as quickly as possible every single time. And I bet a lot of people wouldn't have that mindset and wouldn't come back as quickly as he does. He's so desperate to play football and captain Leeds United. He's a brilliant skipper. So, and if you keep buying those guys, that we've all worked with them, many people off work because they're sick or whatever it may be. So it's a mindset, but you can of course tweak that. You can manage them, and also obviously there's a physical element to it that they might pick up knocks a bit easier. People's bodies are all different, of course, as well. But yeah, of course, it's a concern, and it feels a little bit like at the moment it's like a Bielsa era where you waiting for every press conference and seeing who the new 1, 2, 3 players are out injured. And that's the problem we have at the moment. And you want to settle down. What the club point out quite rightly is they got Byram, Solomon, and someone else playing regularly when they had been out for a while. So there's obviously something in that, which is good. But it remains to be seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right, moving on. Star chats. Right, this one. Biol was crap for his country. Obviously, when you mentioned about Biol coming in, I didn't watch the game, but I've heard he didn't play well. I mean, he's only going to play well if he starts playing games, I suppose. You know, it's probably something in that they haven't played much football. A little bit of a poor game at Sheffield Wednesday, but again, they all played pants. So I'm not too sure. Like I say,
do you know what? Out of their habitat, there's not a slow centre back gets found out quicker if you don't set up a team for a slower centre back properly, and you have it all working together and all working in harmony where the left back is, where the other centre back covering what they may not be, who they're going with, who they're following. A slow centre back, which he is, which John Terry was, which lots of Jamie Carragher, really successful slow centre backs, been lots of them in the past. You have to bear that in mind when you set a team up. So in a game where that's not bared in mind, or a team gets found out in general, the slow centre back looks worse than anyone else on the pitch every single time.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, to add, BOSSNASS? You just want to play, don't you? And we'll judge him then.
Honestly, I think it's one of them where it's like the recruitment team, the scouting team must have, to spend money, close to what they did for that guy, they must have looked at a good sample of work.
100%.
So look, everyone has a bad game every now and again. If he's out of form, Farke will see it in training, and that could well be the reason that he's not getting a sniff at the minute. He could be throwing up stinkers in training. We just all have this mental idea of these players costing so much money, coming with good reputations, and we just kind of have this mental picture of them being really good in training. Could be stinking the gaff up. It could be stinking the gaff up, and that's what, like, sometimes why players don't play and we don't get to see that. So there is something in that. It's like, it's basic trust in the manager. So we'll see.
Mad thing is, BOSSNASS, because we've spent, 15, 16 million on him, whatever it is. It's like, he's come as a starter. We'd like to be that side in 2 or 3 years where a £15 million player is a bench side. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the minute, Leeds spend 15, 18, 20 million. It's like, he's got to start. Surely he's coming as a starter. A lot of these teams are playing, like your Fulhams and stuff, they sign players at 15 million who aren't starters. Your bench is flushed out with 15 to 25 million pounds worth of talent per player. That's where we need to get to. That's the levels that we're at, and sometimes that's lost on fans. A lot of times people don't really look at it like that. Look at our bench, you think, it's decent, but it's way off really in comparison. Touching on
a few years ago, and despite this, when the club told us there'd be no centre backs in the world, so they'd have to offer Llorente a new contract for no reason. Remember that? If you spend 15, 20 million on a centre back this summer, your choice was quite broad. There was quite a lot of options out there in Europe. So as Bosna said, the recruitment team is one of the ones that's, if you it's easier to get right because the choice is quite wide. So if he's a chosen player, you can assume he's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Martin Wilson says, I'm concerned if we go behind, finding it tough to score. If we can stay in the game and don't concede early, we might have a chance of getting a point. So that's my concern is, like I just touched on them with Tanaka potentially being not benching Dan James, that gives me a bit more confidence of getting a goal if we need one. But looking at as benches in the opening 3 games, looking at your Harrison, your Aronson, maybe a Piroe to come off the bench if Nmecha started over him and not having a fit DCL. I've been a little bit concerned about, at the minute, we haven't had to worry about that Arsenal game. We were 0-0 and 0-0 until we changed to Everton and got the goal. We haven't had to come from behind against a side like a Fulham or a side, we hopefully we're picking points up. So my concern's been, if Dan James does start, and if we have got a few, have we got those reserves on that bench who can come on and make an impact and get us out of trouble, lads? That's my sort of worry. When we go behind, have we got enough quality I think we've got the character, but have we got the quality?
Well, you can see what I don't know if anyone's watched it, but there was that training video that came out, and what you saw was a defensive unit comes against like an attacking unit, and you've got one of Farke's men literally counting up 1, 2, 3, you know, getting, and they're seeing how many passes it takes to open up an opportunity to shoot on goal, and then they had to switch with like a section of the other players on the other pitch, which was adjacent. So they're clearly working on it. They are working on it, and the right to work on it.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those where, you know, you've got to start getting your best players on the pitch and getting decent minutes in to get the actual match sharpness. Because no matter what you do on the training pitch, it's not going to give you match sharpness. So, yeah, we'll see. We will get, like AG said, we will get a really good look at where these guys are tomorrow. Real good look. The best, you will get your most accurate kind of calibration of where this team are is by 5 o'clock tomorrow. Then it'll be quite a clear vision of where we're at.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's first game you sort of look at, don't you, and say this is probably a game we can maybe judge better than, you know, the opening game against Everton's opening game. Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, a few injuries. This is probably the first game you look and go, this is a decent like measuring stick now to sort of go off. I sort of get that. We always talk about 10 games, and it's still too early, but this is the game you look at and go, right, let's see what we're made of. Yeah, I get that, mate. Nige asked earlier, maybe not tomorrow in my eyes, but in general, do you ever see us playing with a back five at any point, just because we probably have got the personnel for it, or do you think that would never happen?
I hope so. I don't like the idea of us going to Stamford Bridge and not playing 5 at the back. I hate that idea.
Yeah,
because it's just another 5-0 waiting to happen.
Would you literally see it as a 5 at the back though, not like a 3-4-3 or whatever? Because of course against Chelsea we'll end up as a 5 at the back.
I play 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, but you know, on the ball you're a wing back. Off the ball, it's a back 5, 100%.
But of course, the thing is with Farke tactics, on the ball, the fullbacks are the wing backs anyway, aren't they? They'll get forward just as much as they do because it doesn't really change that. So and then the extra centre back in there, it's an interesting dynamic because 2 guys centre back. It's a 3 there, obviously, but when we play 3 in midfield, it's not like any of them bust the guts and get in the box all the time anyway. So and we'll try and play the way Farke tries to manage games like that is trying to keep the ball, doesn't he? Like he did against Arsenal. He thought, I know what how I'm going to stop them scoring is if we've got the ball. Arsenal, okay, you have the ball. What we'll do is when you have it, we'll come and take it off you. I mean, oh no, you found us out. You can take it off us. Damn. Gyökeres should have scored when they took it off Stack. He should have just turned around and put it in the back of the net early on, and it would have looked laughable. And it's really fortunate he didn't, because I think there'd been a bigger spotlight on Farke if he had done that. Because actually, a lot of the goals Farke goes, it wasn't really my fault because this happened, that happened. They're scoring from corners. Arsenal score from corners. Oh no. So, but anyway, sorry. Back to the 3 at the back thing. I'm not sure. I think the problem is, and I don't know if it's a problem. What you end up with is a 5, a 3, or and probably you do end up with 5, and then probably a 4 in front, the 1 up front, and then you're really deep the whole game, and the outlets again aren't there. There's the 1 up front's the right guy, and there's no pace outlets because you haven't got your wingers in the pitch really, and so I don't know how it comes together to make that much of a difference. If your 3 midfielders are amply Stack, Longstaff anyway, they just sit really deep in front of their back too, because always with a 3, the problem with 3 is depending on the other team attacks. If they attack down the wing, your outside centre backs cover the fullbacks is quite an important thing. I know I would have loved to have seen that against Arsenal, by the way. Strout behind Goodmanson all the time. If you get past him, Strout's there. Same on the other side, Bogle, Rodon behind, Bijou in the middle, clearing everything up. It made a lot of sense. So it depends on the team. And I guess Chelsea are one of those that they're going to play down the sides, and you need that. But it's an interesting debate because people would say that 3 midfield operates as a defensive unit anyway. It's just one slightly further ahead because it's in midfield rather than defence.
You know what I don't hate the idea of? And I can't remember which tournament it was. Famously, it was an international tournament where all the kind of lower ranked teams basically put 2 banks of 4 and they just literally motioned across the pitch. I love that, by the way. If we can have a version of that where, like I think it was Andy Rowe put, where does the counter attack come from? If you've got a 4-4-2 that can just literally 2 banks of 4 that can just mirror what's going on in front of them and step forward and maybe take a ball and then clip a ball where I've got 2 outlets that can take it up the wings or like a knock. a through ball or whatever you can do with it. I want them, if we've got those types of games, I want them to have the ball. I want them to have the ball. I want to keep a really good shape, and when we nick it, we pounce and we just play a very simple ball into an area and we chase after it. That's what I want to see.
We're very good off the ball, lads. We're very good off the ball. Really well. Under Farke, very well organised. I know Arsenal, but as I think everyone just sort of says we're all bad and you can scrap that. Off the ball, we're really good. We're really hard to break down. Even though Burnley conceded less goals than us, the XG on our goal and all that, we had less chances conceded on our goal. We're really, really good. Really well drilled. Even on this step up, I think you've seen against Everton and Newcastle. Yeah, there's always going to be chances created against us. You can't hide from that with the quality you're playing against. But we haven't massively been carved open by the Arsenal game. So even the Sheffield Wednesday game in Cup with all them changes, we haven't been carved open by the Arsenal game, and I expect that to continue. I expect that to continue with a well coached side off the ball. I think we're brilliant. So I think it sets up at certain times this season to let them have the ball and then play that way, BOSSNASS. I really like the look of us playing that way.
Oddly, by the way, I don't think we were that carved open at Arsenal particularly. We just, which is a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, no, I suppose you're right.
It's three at the back or three in midfield, by the way. Whatever way you look at it, it's about what. This is where Stroud falls down a little bit for me. It's those hundreds of micro decisions, whether you go tight, drop off, try and nick the ball, come out your pattern, whatever. Stroud makes, when we're defending consistently, I think he starts making those decisions incorrectly or makes too many wrong decisions in that moment. And that's where you do, because your football IQ is really important at any moment about every decision you make, whether to go, whether to stay. And I think Stroud makes too many of those wrong decisions when we are defending a lot. And that's why he looks very good in Championship. We've got a lot of the ball, whereas Bijol will be better in defence in those moments.
Yeah, I think Folksy has it spot on. Soak it up.
Yeah, I agree. Great comment here by Richard Woodthorpe. Late Night Leeds is the best show on YouTube. We will take that. Thanks so much, Richard. We love it in that class. Andy Rowe, do we put too much faith in Ampadu? I would say no. I've seen some people, our good friend Mr. Sean Healy, has given some right stick over since I've known him. But I'd say just the stats back it up. When Ampadu's not playing for Leeds United, we pick up less points, especially away from home. The captain, it's massive. We've lost a lot of leaders and experience over the last couple of years at the club. I think not only his leadership skills, which are the first thing that come to mind in being captain, but I think he's just an outstanding player. I think he is a Premier League player. He's got to prove it now, but I believe he's a Premier League player. I think he's got experience at still a young age. And I think the stats back it up. Without Ampadu in team, we're not as good, lads. So I don't think we put too much faith in him at all. If anything, I'd probably say slightly underrated for me.
The question is, of course, what faith are we putting in Ampadu? I don't know what faith really. What does that mean?
Yeah.
He's playing DM. He's a very good DM. He's talking about him as captain. It's different, but I think he's a very good captain as well. He's very good DM. He needs the right players around him, like everyone else, always. So I think he's a very good system player. He's always where he's supposed to be. He's great at picking up those second balls. He's positionally very good. He's sound enough on the ball. He's good. He's just a good player, and he's a really important one for us, obviously.
To be fair to Sean, he did eat all those words, and he basically did say I was wrong, which is rare for Sean. So well done for that, Sean.
Well done, Sean. 3 years of hate. What he played one good game, go, I was wrong. That one good game's changed my mind.
I will say, Ampadu was one of those. Ampadu definitely was one of those where I was looking at and going, can this guy make the step up? Is he going to be able to? Because that pivot or that DM is such a really important cog in Farke's system. I was keen to see how we got on, but I have absolutely no issues with him being in. I think we're a better team with him in. I think he's one of our better players, and he's one of the first names on the sheet for me.
And the drop off as well, BOSSNAS, from him to Gruev. I like Gruev, but it is a massive drop off. It's huge. So that elevates, Ampadu's game even more. And what I like about us playing in midfield three as well as having Stack in there and Tanaka or Longstaff. Ampadu's playing in a midfield three with players, let's be fair, better than himself. If he's playing with a Longstaff and a Stack, his argument that Ampadu's different player, but maybe not as good as the other two. But that will elevate his game too. You know, playing with better players. You know, rather than playing next to a Gruev last season in a 2, or maybe even a Tanaka, playing with better quality players, he'll elevate his game. And I think as a back four, and especially the 2 centre halves, a Roden or a Strauch or a Biol, I think they'll have utmost faith in seeing Ampadu in front of him rather than a Gruev. And I think that's massive. We always speak about, you know, having faith in your goalkeeper behind you. If you're a Road and you've got Ampadu sat in front of you, you feel so much more at ease. You know, you've got that synergy. We're playing at club and country as well, which I think is decent to having a team having 3 or 4 that play for the country. I think that's a good little Welsh spine we've got too. But I think he's just, whether we put too much on him or not, or we big him up, or I aren't too sure. I just think he's exactly what we need in that position, is Ampadu, and I think he's probably I would say the most vital player for me. I think if he didn't play tomorrow, we potentially lose. I think with him in it, we probably get something from game. That's how highly I rate Ampadu.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much spot on with that. I think he is one of the most important players in the team, and he also backs himself, which is really important. I don't like players that sometimes see the bright lights and hide. He will always turn around and ask for the ball. Give me that ball. Give me that ball.
He's brave.
He's brave. Yeah, he's always wanting the ball because he's got an idea and he wants to distribute it. So yeah,
he'll always get injuries though, BOSSNASS. He'll always pick up knocks, won't he, because of where he plays. Every ball, he challenges every ball like his life depends on it, and we love him as Leeds fans for that. But he'll constantly get, you know, knocks all season for me.
Yeah,
with the midfield 3, what they're all very good at is being 7 out of 10 every single game, regardless of game state. Yeah, I think they'll very rarely go below that. They'll very rarely go beyond it as well. But they'll always be. They don't rely on game state, where it's defensive. Got a little bit more on the ball, wherever it may be, to dip either way. Loads of players do. You know, Strauch in certain games might be a 5, in certain games might be an 8, whatever it may be. Goodman's the same. Bogle, Rodon. I think that 3 works really well. So really say it's pragmatic. Pragmatic sounds like a put down, but it's not in this instance. They're just very solid players. They'll win their right amount of duels on the floor, in the air, and they'll keep the ball and they'll keep it moving. Stack's a little bit different because he can progress it. Now he's been asked to do some very different things here than what he was in Germany, because he played a centre back and a 3. He played DM a lot. He's asked to get the ball forward. People talk about his performance against Newcastle wasn't very good. The problem, if you watched the end of the game, the pitch got so wet. Anyone was trying to carry the ball out of their feet were having trouble. They're giving the ball away, their first touch, etc. And Stack, that's his game a little bit, to carry the ball, to move the ball quickly. He's very vertical. And in that game with the wet pitch, I think he struggled. But a lot of players' touch went awry at the end of the game.
So we're not playing Stack when it rains, then, AJ?
No. No. We're playing long stuff both sides.
I don't think we've heard out on this, have we? So we probably can't say when does the set piece coach start. I assume if we've got him, he's there now. But did it surprise you lads, that we didn't have one? And if it didn't, like the fact that we've started looking at it, or brought one in 3 weeks into the season, for our 3-4 games into the season, why wasn't this something that picked up in pre-season, where they can work on this thing when you should be working on it? I think it's a bit of a madness that we didn't have one and then we've got one when we've got one. What do you think?
It's really poor. I don't know any other way to put it than it's really poor.
Strange decision, isn't it? I mean, I'm glad we've got one now, BOSSNASS, or we're getting one, but it's just what?
Yeah, kudos to the person who actually put the red above the parapet and said we need to get a set piece coach. And I don't know who that guy is, but kudos to you, because I think out of the 20 teams in the Premier League, there's only 2 now that don't have one. Really? So look, if I'm not about copying people, but if Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, etc., have got set piece coaches, and you see what they're doing, and you see what their set pieces look like, maybe it's a good idea to go down that road.
Do you know, I mean, Farke said, and what he used very well, he does sometimes, is a context. He goes, well, we scored the most in the Championship. Well, yeah, that's because we had 10 times more than everyone else. Like, we had loads. And we just kick it into an area, and sometimes there was someone there to head it, sometimes there wasn't. Yeah, we didn't seem to say, I'll kick it there, and you go there and try and head it. That didn't seem to happen. It just seemed to be, we might kick it there, and you might try and get there. We haven't got very good attackers of the ball. There's been very good, height isn't what it's all about. It's being aggressive, making those runs and wanting to win the ball. Like Thomas Vermaelen always comes to mind for me. 5'11" centre back, won so many aggressive headers on attacking corners just because he's brilliant at attacking the football. Strauch's very good at it. Bijol and Bornau are both coming because they're both brilliant at getting the first touch in it, but we're not starting them. It irked me actually quite incorrectly when we bought Rodon. I thought, why don't we buy a centre back that can attack a ball? We have so many corners. Why are we buying Rodon for 10 million? Obviously, it's a completely right decision. But profile wise, Rodon attacking corner, you may as well have him at centre back. Longstaff doesn't go into the box on the corners, even though 6-1. And then you watch the way people do it. Chelsea scored a goal already this season. I think it might be against West Ham. Cucurella goes over to the corner taker, and then when Pan goes up and he runs back, and where he's positioned there is in front of the front guy of the defence, and he just gets a knock on because he's at the front. And the second game they did it, they went, "Oh, Cucurella's doing that. Make sure you get in front of him." And then they nullified that. But it worked for one game. It was a routine. He got the flick on. First touch is crucial. The way Arsenal do it, Gabriel has a free roll. Everyone else goes to the back post and they run. And because they can all see the ball, they come. It's easier to head the ball that way. We're coming to judge the flight of the ball going at it rather than it coming across you. It's really simple, but they do it. And then all of our defence just stood there the wrong way around. Didn't know where their goal was and didn't know where the ball was coming from. Or were looking at the ball and zonal marking is an interesting one as well. Zonal and blockers. You can't block someone that's coming from there, and you can't have enough players for the right zones. And then what teams do? They hit the zone where there isn't someone. There's so much to set pieces and how crucial they are that it's as you say, fundamentally, I've gone a long way around this. Yeah, we should have had a coach. We should have had a coach the whole time. But obviously, Farke likes his staff and thought we had enough. And it's wrong to say, of course, they were coaching it, but it's a specific role now. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that kind of the way Arsenal do it forces you to play zonal. Because for instance, if you went man for man, which Bielsa would have done, by the way, because he would
terrible, 100% always.
You would have had pretty much all your defenders on the edge of the box, and they would have just rolled it to someone on the 18-yard line who would have slowed it home. It forces you to play zonally. I found it interesting that Farke said, "Well, we don't have a Juninho. We don't have a Juninho." No, we don't have a Juninho, but what we do have is a squad of 25 professional footballers who should be able to put a ball into an area. So don't want to hear those type of things. Get someone to put a ball into an area. Tell your attackers that's where the ball's going, and let's score some goals, please.
Yeah, it's a madness, isn't it? Because, like I say, we're looking for a set piece taker, and like someone said in chat there, surely Tanaka can set one. Not being funny, when you're a professional footballer, you should be able to deliver a decent ball with your good foot, and you should be able to whip one in with your bad foot. You know, when you paid 30, 40, 50, it does my Sweden. Like, 11 players on that field, 10 outfield players. You know, why can't Goodmanson be delivering them from left? Why can't Bogle? Why can't half of that starting lineup deliver a decent ball? Why are you relying on, probably your best aerial threat to take them? Yeah, he may be the best, but surely second best and third, but can't be far behind. Like, literally, it's just kicking a ball into an area. Surely, maybe 1 out of 10 I can deliver as good as Stack, maybe not as consistently, but the footballers, surely the gap ain't that big between Stack and somebody else, lads. Can't be.
I mean, of course, every professional footballer should be able to deliver a dead ball. It's a dead ball. The ball's sitting there. You kick it.
Mad, mate.
Like, it's not. You kick it, and you've got an area of sort of a 3-yard square area or 2 yards just to hit that zone. Players go in there. Put the ball players against the goalkeeper, swing it into 6-yard box, whatever it may be. Like, he's Stack as an arm, of course, he's tall, but he's not very good at attacking the football in the corner. And that is what Leeds. That's the narrative. No, but that is the narrative about him in Germany. That's what Leeds are saying now. Right. It's not necessarily he's very good at attacking the football. Of course, I say the two that really, because everyone's like, all these big players. The best Bijan and Bornau are the 2 players we bought for that, and of course they're centre backs, so they're not getting a gig. So DCL will make a difference. Goodmanson's good at attacking the football. So you've got to have routines. People should know where they're going. People should know where you're trying to hit. People should have, block someone, have a blocker and a run. Like, it's all routine based. And you don't have to be that innovative either to make it work.
You're probably going to be able to see, though, aren't you, pretty clearly, like we're saying, when they're starting. We're not probably going to know unless someone tells us, but you're probably going to notice it watching the game because, like I say, our set pieces haven't really had any rhyme or reason for years now. It just seems to be, put it in and just hope for best. I'm hoping with a set piece coach, you're going to be able to see quite clearly, he's doing bits because, the level's up and it looks to be a bit of a plan there. So hopefully we see that tomorrow. Or one of his upcoming games, lads. But
do we even know we've got a set piece coach yet?
I just know we were looking at bringing one in, weren't we? That's
exactly. We're talking.
But would they announce we have signed John
No,
Smith.
but there's Graham Smith or someone would have said it, wouldn't they?
You'd imagine
would have
so,
said,
yeah.
It would have come out, I think.
You'd
A name would have come out, and everyone would have been researching that name to know exactly which all the clubs that has been at previously. 100%.
Yeah. To be fair, once Adam's best mate Graham tells Adam, I'll tell you guys, don't you worry. Last hard comment, Paul Smith. Farke said, "We will make up for quality with fitness. Perhaps he's killing the players like Bielsa in training." How do you feel? I mean, you've spoke before, Adam, haven't you? He does double, triple sessions sometimes. Do you reckon the training is Bielsa-esque in terms of?
No,
do you not think anywhere near? Do you reckon it's very intense, or the intensity is quite high?
We won't be any fitter than the other team. Like that's not a thing anymore. You can't do it. You can make them run more during the game, but they're not fitter players. Like if your style for your players to press every time the opposition gets the ball, you and the opposition has the ball more than you run more than the opposition. It doesn't mean you're fitter. It just means you're running more.
Yeah. How do you feel about this, lads? What folks just said. I was buzzing to see this. Does it affect you in any way? Does it make you feel warm and fuzzy that you saw Stuart Dallas on your phone today? It did me.
I don't
love
care.
it. Oh, don't start with that, mate.
No, genuinely, like it's great for Stu. I'm happy. I love Stu. I'm happy that I'm happy that he's got a role at the club. He's probably bringing in a wage from that. But as far as my feelings go towards that, that's where it starts and ends. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to affect us. It's not going to affect a Saturday, is it? Picking up 3 points. But what I'll say is, what I do like about him being in and around the club is the experience he's got, and he's going to be heavily focused on the youth as well. And I'm massive on the whole. You know, if someone gets a long-term injury, he's the best name. He's the best bloke you could have by your side. You know, to help you way through your mental health and stuff. You know, any problems you've got, having someone like Stuart Dallas at the club will only help and aid people in the physio room. We could have a lot of people in there this season, lads.
Yeah, if he improves the culture, brings positive. Do you know? Like, I'm all for it, but as far as like, am I going to go to bed feeling warm because Stu Dallas is? No.
Well, I am.
I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy for him.
I know you are, Adam.
Yeah, nice for him. I had a dream the other night. I had a dream the other night. We sold Stuart Dallas, which is obviously some sort of subconscious premonition to having him back. So there you go. Mystic.
There you go, indeed.
But it's nice, but it won't. By the way, it won't mean anything. It's nice if he's doing stuff in this local area and stuff like that. But I don't really know what it means. It's like saying we're going to spend all the money we can. You know, it doesn't mean anything unless you know what the money is.
Well, the word for me, what BOSSNASS said there is culture. You know, you're having someone there who knows the club inside out. 260 odd games, I think, for Leeds. Is a bit of a current legend. You know, legend gets thrown around quite a lot, but from that sort of era, is a recent legend, and we all love him. So I'm happy for him, and there's no harm can be done from having someone like that in and around the club. Anyways, I think we'll call it there, lads. Just over an hour and a half. Let's just quickly get your score predictions. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds tomorrow with DCL off the mark. Go on, Adam. Give me your score prediction.
Snap.
Really? 2-1 DCL gets one. Get it in. I thought you'd go other way. I thought because you've been known on this channel to pick the opposition winning games, and it ain't gone down too well. Go on, BOSSNASS.
Oh, can I abstain, please?
Go on, mate. He's going to say.
The problem with having your own YouTube channel, right, is that I've got a video recorded with Priestley that's coming out tomorrow. So I can't even lie.
You can't.
I just want to lie, please.
No lying on this channel, mate. No.
All I will say is I'll be very happy with a point.
You have 3-1 Fulham, haven't you?
You have. He hasn't.
No, 3-0 for 2-0 Fulham.
3-0. Tune in to BOSSNASS on Leeds to find out.
Yeah, to be fair, we'll leave it at that with you, BOSSNASS. Yeah, so please go over and check out BOSSNASS on Leeds. He's only at channel maybe a month or so. His content's really good. He's a good friend of ours now. Yeah, and we're going to be pushing his channel as much as we can on Late Night Leeds to help him grow as well. So great content. Please go check out Dan, aka BOSSNASS. I'll let your first name out there just for a laugh. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone who's watched today. Yeah, a bit strange not having Sean in. Mr. Statman Shire. Yeah,
I've enjoyed it. It's been much better.
I've enjoyed it. Oh, here. Just because you said that, I've got to do it. I've got to do it, boys. Sorry. Statman. I love you, BOSSNASS, but I've still got to say I miss Shawnee boy.
Hey, listen, I'm only here keeping the feet warm. You know what I mean?
Nah,
I'm here
mate, I've absolutely loved having you on, mate. You're a top guy. And yeah, long may it continue that us three keep doing this. But yeah, thanks so much everyone's watched. It's been great. We've had decent numbers in, decent amount of likes. Really appreciate your support as always. Adam, Mr. AG, have a great weekend. BOSSNASS, have a great weekend. 3 points tomorrow. Let's believe. Take care, everyone. Bye. Bye.